Benjamin Netanyahu is a diabolical figure. We are in danger of being dragged back in. And when I say we, I mean the entire world is in danger of being dragged back into lineage against lineage violence.
So recently, Bret Weinstein unleashed a scathing attack on Netanyahu, calling him a diabolical figure. In this video with my friend Liberty Lockdown Clint Russell, where he appeared on his podcast, Bret gets into what he thinks is at the heart of this genocide in Gaza and what it means for the future of humanity and how we deal with this politically in the United States. So let's get his take on this. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
He is also connected in a way that I think is completely unforgivable to October 7th itself, that his funding of Hamas means that Israel's number one priority after October 7th should have been removing Benjamin Netanyahu from power. And having done priority one, its second priority should have been getting to the bottom of how exactly that failure could possibly have happened. Whether that was that, Hamas or Iran had moles inside of the Israeli security apparatus, or there was collusion, or whatever it was. They needed to get rid of Benjamin Netanyahu, and they needed to get to the bottom of that. And having done neither, it creates a stench surrounding the events in Gaza that I can't look past. But again, my point is, I don't like the sense that the calamity of COVID and the calamity of Gaza and the calamity of Ukraine are all part of some story that no one's ever told me. I think they're not independent. And given such a thing, we need to know. There is no higher priority. And Trump can't tell us, hey, get over this or that, and I'll do some other cool stuff for you. This is really about whether or not there is a United States of America that functions under a constitution that we can all go read.
Yeah, man, couldn't agree with him more on this. Under the traditional narrative, this is the case reported in mainstream news articles that Mossad knew about the fact that an October 7th-like attack was going to happen for a year in advance, and yet that happened. So under the traditional narrative, this is a security failure. But, under a more kind of cynical narrative, Mossad wanted this to happen so that they could consummate a genocide in Gaza to begin with. In either case, we should get answers. What is the reasons why this occurred? And he is totally right. Netanyahu has long supported Hamas. You won't read about this in mainstream accounts, but that has happened for a long time, first starting with wire transfers to Hamas, but then leading up to, even in the weeks before October 7th, he passed a large amount of cash through the head of Mossad to take down to Qatar to do that exchange. So when people say, oh, hey, Hamas is a proxy of Iran, they have to be wiped off the face of the earth, well, it's actually a proxy of Israel too, because Netanyahu has long supported Hamas because he believes that doing that will preclude the possibility of a Palestinian state. And it so far has worked, but that is the reason. So he is just as complicit with Hamas atrocities getting to this point as people within Hamas doing the financing on that side.
What I really think is going on in the Middle East, and what I have said from October 8th, was we are in danger of being dragged back in. And when I say we, I mean the entire world is in danger of being dragged back into lineage against lineage violence by what is taking place in the Middle East. And if you love Israel, what you should want is to make sure that the faction in Israel that earnestly wants to be part of the West and to put lineage aside is dominant, and that the part of Israel that wants to drag us back into the Old Testament is not, right? That's the question. Are we going to be dragged back into lineage against lineage violence of the sort that the Old Testament is written about, of the sort that is riddled throughout the Quran, or not? And my feeling is, once you've seen what the West can do, the answer is, look, this is us and them. It's the West versus lineage against lineage violence. Everybody should want to be part of the West. I don't want the category them to contain anybody.
That's right. There's a lot to agree with what he said. The only thing that I'll disagree with in terms of what he just said was the West isn't in danger of being dragged into this. The West has been long dragged into this, and especially the United States, which has long funded Israel and its aspirations for regime change policies and fruitless military excursions that don't benefit Americans in any way for a long time. Essentially since 1948, the U.S. didn't start pouring in a lot of aid, I think, until the 1950s, but we're far past that point. He's right. It's gotten to critical mass now, and it is over lineage versus lineage violence. You have the Greater Israel Project, where they want to lay claim to parts of Syria and Lebanon, expand the West Bank settlements into those two countries, as well as talking about annexing Gaza just outright right now, after committing mass atrocities there in what many consider to be a genocide, including myself, where 60 to 100,000 people have died, 150,000 more missing, maybe a predominant amount die, and we still keep hearing the stupid propaganda Israel has a right to defend itself. It's so maniacal and fruitless for the U.S. to be involved in this. I don't want my tax money anywhere near this. It just does not make sense for the United States. What benefit does the United States get from this? And yeah, I look at Israel much like I look at my own criminal government. It's a criminal government that contains some good people and some dissidents. Same with America. I happen to love America. I happen to love a lot of the Jewish critics of Israel, by the way, like Glenn Greenwald and Jeff Sachs and Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal. And it looks like Bret Weinstein right here.
Right? It's not that I have people I want to fight, but this is really the us and them that matters. Do you want to be part of the West? Do you want to put aside people's genetic background and collaborate with them because they're good people to collaborate with? That's what the West is about, and that's what we should be fighting for. And anything that threatens to take us back into the Old Testament, no thank you.
No, great rant, and I just got to add one point, is that my deep concern is that, when I see the Randy Fines of the world, RFK Jr. talking about anti-Semitism on college campuses, Donald Trump doing the same, Bondi doing the same, Patel, like all of them doing the same, is that if you come into America, and if you're a politician in America and you start to create laws that differentiate between the people, and you make a category that's protected. It's ironic I even need to make this point. I certainly don't need to make it to you, but after the woke experience or the woke era, and James Lindsay being such a great advocate on this topic, that I think we all recognize that if you create special categories of people, it will breed resentment. It actually leads to racism. That is the path that we're taking when it comes to Jewish people now.
That's exactly right. This is just wokeness harnessed and then focused in a different direction. Just like saying that men can't get pregnant would be get you called, a racist or a sexist or a homophobe or all that woke nonsense that was directed to you. If you now have marginal or even remote criticisms toward Israel or U.S. aid to Israel, the bludgeon of anti-Semitism will be taken to you like nothing else has been taken to you. It's wokeness just in a different flavor, just in a different form. It's these carve-outs, on the basis of DEI, something that I thought conservatives were against, just driven toward providing special protections for Jewish people on campuses and such. It's the way to get conservatives to support safe spaces. It literally is. So yeah, he's totally right about this.
And this is why I think that the woke right label being placed on people like me is totally misguided, and that it ought to be being placed on my friend James Lindsay, because it seems as if he is more interested in protected classes, and that protected class is Jewish people, while as everybody else is, equal. I just think this is a really dangerous paradigm, and I think it's going to give rise to, if James is fearful of Nick Fuentes will be your president in 20 years if you don't listen to what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, the best way to expand and increase anti-Semitism is to just call people anti-Semitism for criticizing Israel and its worst excesses. That's the best way. And to double down and defend what Israel is doing in Gaza, that's the best way. And that crowd is doing both. So yeah, there is a woke right. It's not the people criticizing Israel. It's using the same woke liberal tactics against people who dare to criticize Israel when it's committing atrocities.
You think you're going to crush dissent of people that think the Jewish people control America by creating special laws that make it seem as if you can't say anything about Jewish people in America. It's like, this is doomed to fail. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, let me just say it this way. I'm Jewish, but I'm an American.
Right.
I believe in America in my core. And there are no chosen people in America. That's the thing. If America is actually going to function, the point is what we get is a level playing field. Is it ever going to be perfectly level? No. But what we should want, what we should all collaborate on as Americans is a level playing field in which nobody has special access, nobody has special protections, and we don't need them.
Absolutely. Meritocracy should overrule special racial, sexual carve-outs that are created to elevate certain groups of people above others. I thought that conservatives understood that best of all, or they pretended to, but they certainly don't on this. So I'm with Bret 100%. Let the wheat be separated from the chaff on this issue if it's needed, because we're sick and tired of dealing with these special categorizations. Let the rule apply equally to all, and by all, I mean the most powerful corporations and the most powerful presidents and the most powerful operatives and bureaucrats in the deep state ever. And maybe that's utopian. It probably is. As he just said, it's not going to be perfect. He's right about that, but that should be our North Star to head toward.
That's the objective of the exercise. And you can say, well, Bret, you're being naive, but I don't think so. And, if that's the argument is that America is naive, then let's have it out. Let's have that conversation. I'm fully ready for it. But let us not pretend that America works and then quietly undermine it by saying, well, but there are certain groups that need special protections, blah, blah, blah. That's not how it works. We should level the playing field as well as we can and then play the cards you're dealt. That's the game. That is superior to all of the alternatives that came before it. And, that it is simply the objective of the exercise once you understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with Bret in this video, and Clint Russell. Great comments there that I totally agree with. He is seeing where the culture war is headed because of America's reckless foreign policy. So when you talk about our foreign policy and how much it's dedicating to support Israel at all costs, you can't just separate it. You can't make it inexplicable for how domestic politics and especially culture are playing out here when it comes to these special protections and the idea that, hey, critics of Israel are innately anti-Semitic. People say this to Jews that make these same arguments. They've done it to Norm Finkelstein and Dave Smith and Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal. I listed some others earlier in this video, but it's just the common reflex to do that. It's a grand psyop to try to conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, and that's absurd. Some of the best critics of Israel are Jews. Some of them had family that went through the Holocaust, by the way. This is not a Jew versus non-Jew issue. This is a sanity versus insanity issue. That's what I think of it. And yeah, Netanyahu is certainly a diabolical figure. And hey, I praise the Jewish dissidents within Israel that are trying to stop that madman, that won't let him get away with this. It seems to be not enough. At this point, he enjoys a lot of popular success, but it is because of the propaganda that it grips his people, much like the propaganda that gripped the American people after 9/11. That's what got through the invasion and occupation of Afghanistan and Iraq, the Patriot Act, the DHS, the FISA, like expanding FISA and warrantless wiretapping. It's what got us the PRISM program that Snowden exposed, the mass surveillance state. Hey, you don't have to worry about anything as long as you're not a terrorist. Well, they're bulk collecting data on all of us. This is how madness and tyranny starts. It's these stupid mentalities that get us embroiled in entangling alliances, and the spillover effects domestically into the culture are just unavoidable at this point. That's what we're seeing with the Israel issue. That's what we're seeing for shelving U.S. foreign policy interests and negotiating with Iran for the sake of war with Iran for Netanyahu. That's exactly what we're seeing when Trump goes on Truth Social and says, hey, he's a great war hero, and you should dismiss the corruption and fraud charges against him in the Knesset, which he was facing right before October 7th. So whether or not you ascribe to the narrative that October 7th was a security failure or there was a stand-down order that was issued, we can all agree, I think, if you're in the dissident world, if you're in the anti-war world, if you're in the libertarian world, that the U.S. relationship with Israel is plagued from the get-go. It's been a disaster. It will always be a disaster as long as the U.S. supports Israel at all costs. I'm glad that Bret seems to really grasp this better than a lot of people he actually, communicates often with, including some people that are clearly Zionists. So, hey, props to him for the show. Clint Russell, great interview here, and I do want to hear what you guys think. So let me know down below, is Bret Weinstein correct about Netanyahu and U.S. support for Israel? Is he correct about which faction of Israel needs to be dominant and which doesn't? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Liberty Lockdown too. Clint Russell, he's awesome. Good friend of mine. He has a great show. It should have way more subscribers than it does. And please consider becoming a YouTube member. If you click the join button below, you can support the channel, and in return, I'll give you access to all my videos before they go live on YouTube. And until I see you guys next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out, guys. Catch you in the next one.